Welcome to the Clockwork Percussion Podcast. Today's guest is Anthony Vezirian.
Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming. Great. So the idea is just to get to know you a little bit as a drummer. What got you started?
Got me started. Well, there's the whole story of like being a little kid with the pots and pans thing. So I mean, at a very, very young age, my mom noticed that I liked banging on stuff, and she was very much into music. She was into in that day, Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden. So she wanted me to kind of have an inclination to want to do music.
Yeah.
So as soon as she saw that I liked hitting on stuff, she got me lessons. So I think I was around 4.
Wow.
When she threw me into lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. And what was your first band that you played with?
The first band actually was like a rock school type band. So I think it was like 6 or 7, where at the lesson place that I was at, there was guitar, bass, drums, all that stuff, and they kind of threw us all together, and we played like Weezer. We played all like the top alt hits of the late 90s.
For sure.
So that was like my first band, but like my first kind of like band with friends was like junior high, where a couple buddies, we just got together at the rehearsal studio every week. Our parents paid for it, and we just covered songs for like 2 hours every week, twice a week. We just got down to business. We didn't have a band name. We played like one show, but we just all showed up and just like ripped for a while, then just kind of did our thing. So that was like the first chill like friend band.
Okay.
And then high school, I was in like a super fast punk band, like a nerdcore punk band. We were called Roundhouse Rampage. That was when like the whole what's that guy's name? Remember the meme, the roundhouse, roundhouse kick to the.
Oh.
I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah.
The karate guy.
Bruce Lee?
No, the white dude. Chuck Norris.
Oh, Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we kind of had like that whole vibe where we put on we had like the Karate Kid headbands. We all
fuck yeah.
I had a giant gong behind me, so we played it off, and that was like first real like band where it's like, okay, we want to have fun and we want to put on a show.
Right.
So that's like my first bands, I guess.
Okay. Very cool. And so what are you doing nowadays?
Nowadays, I'm mainly just kind of hunkered down in my studio with my own project.
What's that called?
It's called Twanner.
Okay.
So TWANNER.
How do we find that on socials?
Yeah, so for Instagram, it's Twanner_. And on TikTok, it's just Twanner. I got lucky. I just got the straight up Twanner on TikTok.
Nice.
And those are two like the main ones.
Okay. Very cool. So you are focusing on your project. Where's your studio?
So my studio is where I work. So I work at this, like a lesson business, where we have basically all of our rooms function as lockouts.
Okay.
So whenever we're not teaching, we can just show up. We can use the rehearsal rooms. We can rehearse with our bands for free, essentially.
Wow.
All night. It's just like a free lockout, basically. In the middle of San Juan Capistrano, kind of tucked away, so it's not like in a crazy busy area, so it's pretty chill. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. How long have you been teaching lessons?
I've been teaching drums ever since I graduated college, so like 2011. I've been teaching at different capacities. I have like a background in drumline, so that was like my first real teaching gigs was with drumline, because I just had such a big knowledge for it. So I did that for a while, and then I worked at like School of Rock for a little bit, worked at a few mom and pop stores before eventually going to Los Rios Rock School, which is where I work now. So teaching for a really long time, and it's still a passion of mine. I love doing it. I never really dread going to work, so it's been really, really awesome, and they treat me very well there. So, teaching is super fun.
Awesome. Big shout out to Los Rios.
Yeah.
So that's cool. You started drums and you got thrown into lessons, and now you're teaching lessons, and your first band was like a rock school kind of band, and you've taught at School of Rock, and does Los Rios do something similar as well?
Yeah, Los Rios is pretty similar, but don't tell my boss that. Working at both, I mean, Los Rios is definitely way cooler. Like, it's not, I mean, like, the School of Rock is definitely more corporate. They have like a chain. It's like, you know, like McDonald's of lesson places. Like, not knocking on it, because it was cool when I was there, but Los Rios has more of just like a super chill vibe, because it's privately owned. We all kind of have a stake in how it should be run, and our curriculums, you know, can be our own curriculums. There's not like a spreadsheet or a something where we're like forced to teach a certain way. So, yeah, it's really, really cool.
So has I don't come from a drumline like a music education background, unfortunately. Actually, I just picked up that book today.
Syncopation for the Modern Drummer. Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, what I've learned today is everyone on the internet is like, yeah, everyone's read this book, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
oh shit. So do you find that that knowledge plays into your lessons, or do you kind of like assess what the student wants and go from there? How do you?
Yeah, I definitely assess. Every student's a bit different, different. Since I do teach from like 6 years old to like, graduating high school, everywhere in between, tailor it to kind of how it goes. There's some kids who just really don't want to read music. They just want to learn by ear. So I have a whole philosophy and mindset of how to learn songs by ear. And we do that for a while, until maybe we get to a point where like, let's maybe read a passage of this music, because by ear might be a little bit, might take a little while. But there's also kids who just want to just read, like zoom in on reading.
Okay.
And like, so I print charts out. We transcribe songs. I have students that want to go to college for music, so we go through pathways of like how to audition properly, what to wear, how to talk, how to act, how to present, because that's the biggest thing for like auditions for college. You want to present yourself in a very like professional way, and also obviously perform in a professional way. So I help that. I think I might be doing something right, because like the average student for me stays for like 4 years, 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
So yeah, to kind of go back to what you're saying, yeah, make sure to tailor it, because if I kind of pigeonhole everyone to learn the way that I want them, that I want to learn, it's just not gonna vibe at all.
Sure.
So usually the first couple lessons is kind of just getting to know the student, and then just working from there, just one lesson at a time.
Okay, that's rad. So then going back to Twanner, I noticed that sometimes you play keyboard, and sometimes you sing as well on top of it.
Yeah, I sing for like my released music.
Okay.
I sing. I'm still pretty insecure in my singing, so I don't really sing on social media too much, but mainly for like the posts that I do is drums and like backing track keyboard stuff. I want to get to a point where like, you see those people that have like a cutaway of them doing keys and a cutaway of them playing drums. I'm super lazy to figure that out, so I just make the track and then I just record myself drumming to it.
Cool.
But I like I like it that it's just like a really easy, quick thing, creativity to kind of bust out. So when I do spend more than enough time on it, I get burnt out kind of easily. So
right.
The production value is mainly just drums, keyboard, and then for my release songs, that's when I kind of like sing and fine tune it and spend hours and hours trying to mix myself and all that stuff. But
so this might be like the worst question to ask anyone who makes music, but what would you kind of consider, like what category, what genre of music?
I'd like to say mainly, because I try to write kind of like neo psychedelic, electronic, kind of wavy.
Yeah.
It's definitely synth heavy. I try to include live bass and guitar, but my mixing skills are still not that great. So whenever I do have guitar and bass, it's always like, let me just turn the guitars down, see if it fits. Okay, let's get rid of the guitars. Okay, now it sounds better. So yeah, I would say like more of that kind of genre, neo psychedelic. Like I was trying to say, I want to incorporate more like band instruments like guitar and bass. So I have a friend who helps me, you know, record guitar because I can't play guitar, record bass. So kind of like, yeah, band. I want to get more band soundy, electronic, psychedelic kind of reverb washed out kind of.
That's rad, man. I've been following you. We've been following each other like over social media for a long time.
Yeah.
I was doing like the Blind Boss thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So you changed like your that handle now has changed to your.
Actually, it still exists. I just I have like I don't know, like 3 Instagrams, man.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which is really annoying. So the Blind Boss one's like totally on hiatus. That was just a lot of work doing, you know, the one-man thing. So my main focus is Lemmy Devato for my band. I just play drums and do backup vocals.
Nice.
And that's a lot easier for me to do.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Clockwork Percussion is my new baby, so to speak. So
Nice.
I have a bunch of products in mind, and so that's getting going slowly, and this podcast is a part of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it, but the practice pad you showed me,
Oh.
definitely cool.
Yeah, sneak peek, everyone.
Yeah.
There might be a practice pad.
There we go.
But I think the point was of me bringing all that up was I've been listening to your stuff develop for years, and you do something cool where you just kind of like you do like collaborations and singles, and you release them. Every month. You seem kind of like prolific.
Yeah, I tried to do that last year. I tried to do a single a month. That lasted up until like the holiday season, and it got kind of crazy. I'm not sure if I'll ever try to reach that goal again. It was pretty stressful, and then looking back, I really like the songs that I released, and I still do. But I think if I were to have been able to spend more time on them without like kind of this strange deadline that I set myself up for, that I could have maybe fleshed them out a bit more. So there's that side of it. But the other side of it is the songs that I'm doing now. I think of the whole rushing ideas and just finishing kind of geared me up to kind of chill on whatever I write from now on. I can get stuff done quick, but now I can like just focus a bit longer, maybe extend the deadline 3 weeks where I, you know, like, oh, I want to release it there. And I listen to it like a few days before I want to like just start the release thing. And then I'm like, oh wait, I need way more time on this actually. Now I'm listening to it with like relaxed mindset.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. You mentioned that when you are giving lessons and prepping your students for college or like performance or anything, do you have the opportunity to perform live still, or what's that like for you?
I have a pretty extensive track record for playing live. I was a percussion performance major in college.
Wow.
Wasn't education. Education was just something that like I just loved to figure out and do. So I performed a lot in college. I was a cruise ship musician for a while.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you do it through like Lime Entertainment or?
I did it through what's the company? Carnival. It's just directly through Carnival.
Wow. Okay.
They had like an open casting call thing. Did that. And yeah, we could definitely get into that because I know a lot of drummers, a lot of musicians have a lot of questions about what life is like on the ship and like what performance is like.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the audition, I mean, you have to be able to read.
Yeah, you have to be able to read.
Because it's like jazz heavy, right?
The show, so let's see. When you're a cruise ship musician, you are tasked with many different, like you're putting on a lot of hats. You got to play the big band stuff for like the dancers. You got to play the pop stuff for like the Friday nights. You got to play the live karaoke on Wednesday. You got to play like the Motown night. So you have to be super like prepared for all of that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's also they do it also because on their end, so there's this massive like big band production, and they're like, "Do you know how to like sight read big band and like read it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." It's like, "Great, we're not rehearsing. You're playing day one on the show, so you better not be lying to us." So that's kind of like you have to be ready just to be dropped in.
They don't like send you a PDF or anything first.
They send you a PDF, and you just kind of look through it, and it looks terrible. Like you there's already like tons of markings on it from the last drummer. Oh shit! Because they just kind of like you know scan it and they send it to you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, and they send you like the songs, but the songs have the most like not the drums that match what the paper says. So then you're just like, okay, at least I'll get the tune in my head. And then you're there, and they are they can fire musicians. They're fire friendly. They can fire anyone on any day.
Okay.
Always have someone else to come in. So it's kind of a bit of like, not laziness on their part. They want people that can go in and do it.
Yeah.
So I think we rehearsed once or twice before we went on the ship. And that was just to kind of run down the Motown tunes, run down the pop tunes. And the karaoke tunes, I'm not sure if all these ships still do it, but there's live band karaoke. So you have to know an extensive list of like tunes, books.
Songs.
So we have you get a massive binder full of just any song that they can just call.
Oh my God.
You get a click track in your ear, and that's all you get. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It was fun. It was stressful, obviously, the first 3 weeks, just because I really didn't want to get fired.
Yeah.
So I'd be in my cabin, just looking through the binders of just like, what songs could they possibly pick? Like, let me see what's in the top 40 right now. Let's see like what's,
Wow.
But
that's like, I can't even imagine what that must feel like. You have to know hundreds of songs.
yeah, it got to a point basically where every song just blended in my head.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like one continuous nonstop song of just top 40 and like
For sure.
all that stuff.
So, well, that's really impressive. I mean, I'm sure you're...
Yeah, thanks. I don't recommend it for everyone, even if like you can handle the music. It's a very isolating job. It's super isolating. Yeah, that's all.
So I have to ask, if you are fired mid-cruise, I mean, do you just like go back to your cabin? Do they charge you for the rest of your trip? Like, do you get to eat? Like, what happens?
Yeah, you get to eat and all that stuff. They have, there's a lot of security on the ship, and they might put a few out around you just in case you like go postal or something.
Okay.
Not like in your vicinity, but there's maybe like up in the stairwell, maybe just to keep post. But they kick you off. They can kick you off right when you land. So let's say like, I was stationed in Florida. They kick you off, and you just hope you have enough money to get a plane flight.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you sign that contract and everything. Like, we're not going to pay for you to go back if you get fired. If you get fired, it's on you. So, yeah.
Wow, man. That's a huge risk. How long did you do that for?
I just did one contract of 6 months.
Okay. That's pretty rad.
Because I was going to do more, but then I guess kind of with the segue, after the cruise ship 6 month thing, I was on tour for like 4 months with this like indie band. But I played piano, not drums. So,
Okay.
boring, not drums.
So you read music just all around?
Yeah. I read. I'm a fluent drum reader when it comes to like keyboard. I can read keyboard music, but I can't. If you throw me like some crazy piano piece, I'm going to take some time to read it. But yeah, I can transcribe. I can write, whatever, melody lines, chords, that kind of thing.
That's incredible.
Nice. Yeah.
Right on. So who do you think your favorite drummer is?
I have a lot, kind of a lot. So Lewis Cole is one of my favorites from this band Nowhere. I like Nate Smith, who's this really funky kind of pocket drummer. Nate Wood, who's this crazy modern kind of fusion rock jazz drummer from this band called Knee Body. And he also, I don't know if you've seen him before, but he has this project called Four, where it's just him playing drums and keyboard and bass at the same time.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Those guys, and like the social media guys like Dan Mayo. Not sure if you've seen Dan Mayo. He's insane. He has like all these effects pedals, and he's playing, and it's like just puts on reverb, slaps it on, turns it off, just crazy distortion.
Whoa.
I have a lot of favorite, like Joost Nickel is insane. He's like a German guy. Cleanest drummer I think I've heard in a while. Clean, like the cleanest drummer. Like you watch some videos of him, everything that he executes is just like pristine, flawless, live. Joost Nickel, and then of course there's like the classic, Dave Weckl.
Okay.
You have to include Dave Weckl on the list. Vinny Colaiuta. Oh man, I'm just like naming them.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean there's Mark Juliana. He was the drummer for the last David Bowie album.
Oh, Black Star.
Yeah, he was a drummer on that. He was kind of picked up from David Bowie because David Bowie saw his jazz band, and he was like, "This is the band I want on the album."
Okay.
That's when he kind of really blew up. But he's been drumming forever. Really, really awesome drummer. He has a book called "Exploring Your Creativity on the Drum Set," and that is a really, really good book. And gosh, just trying to think. I'm forgetting a lot. I mean, then like the great greats of like Mitch Mitchell.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Mitch Mitchell, definitely. He's a masterclass in itself. Like when I teach a student how to play like Fire, for instance.
Yeah.
Like you have to like dive into his sound. You have to like jump into that era and that genre, and just the way he did that drum solo in the beginning. It's like off. Sounds like off a little bit when you look at it with the sheet music. Like one doesn't sound like it's really one.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Mitch Mitchell, and then Levon Helm of the band. He's also a master class in himself, where he has just incredible pocket, incredible groove. Learned a lot. So all these drummers I've learned a lot from just by watching and meticulously like laser focus on what they're doing and their technique and like their mentality, and all that stuff. But yeah.
Nate Smith has come up a couple times now on this podcast, and I've got to dive in. What's some good stuff to listen to?
He has a band called Kinfolk.
Okay.
So that's like his band. He leads it. His solo stuff is just Nate Smith. He has an album called Pocket Change, and it's just drums. It's an album of just drum sets.
Sick. And
like claps and a few chanting.
Okay.
But there's no melodic instruments. It's a full album. I would recommend checking that out. And someone transcribed that entire album.
Whoa.
You can find that too. So I'm trying to like really dive in to like get into what he's doing. And the majority of the drummers that I've mentioned, they're all self-taught. Like Nate Smith is self-taught.
Okay.
You wouldn't believe it when you listen to him. Like you have to have a little bit, but because he couldn't transcribe, he's like, "Oh yeah, I hired someone to like transcribe it for me because I don't know how to read music. I don't really know what I'm doing." Definitely check out Pocket Change.
Okay,
really good.
That's dope. And then Mitch Mitchell is like totally a favorite. When I first started playing drums, I actually had my snare drum like inverted, like he did. You know, now it's like more back towards me. I try to keep it like pretty horizontal to the ground for a long time, but it's just not natural for me anymore. But he's kind of got like a sloppy thing like Joey Jordison from Slipknot, you know, where it's like a really relaxed relationship with meter and the beat, and like there's a swing to it, and it's totally signature, you know, for each of them. But yeah, Mitch Mitchell for sure.
Yeah, I mean that snare thing, like you said, he's like, you know, relaxed, loose. He can just knocked you know, rim shots left and right, just kind of like tack, 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 like that kind of stuff.
Totally
Super easy for him.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, I don't know if this will, I don't know who would agree, but I kind of like Mitch Mitchell more than John Bonham.
Okay.
Like, I gravitate more towards Mitch Mitchell's playing than John Bonham's
That's
playing.
controversial, but I like it.
Like, don't get me wrong, John Bonham like has some killer grooves, but just as a whole, for the songs, it seemed like Mitch Mitchell just knew how to make Jimi Hendrix just really sound the way he did, in a sense.
Yeah.
And really like laying it back. Some of the songs was like, you know, some of those songs just have such a slow groove that Mitch just really just held it back. And like, there's not too many John Bonham songs where he's like laying it back. Like he's doing it laying back, but you can tell he's just trying to like wait to maybe do something else, you know?
That's a good point. And yeah, that says a lot about Mitch Mitchell just playing to the song, which is like you have kind of almost like two camps of drummers, the guys that like can't wait to show off, and I might be
I am too
in that camp. And then there's the guys excuse me, that played to the song. And you know, I think having a mix of both is probably, you know,
no, for sure,
best of both worlds. But I'd say yeah, those two guys could probably like be the leaders in each camp in a way.
Totally.
What sticks do you use?
Actually, recently I changed. Are you familiar with Mike Johnston, the drum educator?
sounds familiar.
He's had like a website for years, but he just partnered up with Vic Firth, and he has a new stick called the NE1s. I love those sticks. They're like the size of 5A a little bit, but they're tapered a bit different. They have a different tip, kind of more of like a less like an oval, more like a circle-ish.
Okay.
And they're a bit lighter. I'm a fan of lighter sticks now. The older I'm getting, the more I kind of just like having lighter sticks, since I'm not so much playing like loud anymore. Mm-hmm. And when I do play loud, I get bigger sticks, but they feel really good and they're great for recording. If you're just recording kind of just like pocket stuff, or you're recording like not super high volume, they just feel really good. They just came out like maybe a year ago.
Okay.
I just tried them just because I like trying new sticks, and I instantly just like bought 5 more.
Oh wow.
5 more pairs of them. They're already almost run out at on Amazon, so you should if you want to check them out.
Pick them up. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard a couple different people say that they move towards lighter sticks, and that's interesting because if you came from drumline, you probably had to use like Core Master size sticks.
Oh yeah, like the
Skojos.
Yeah, the Skojos and the Ralph Hardemans.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Innovative percussion and all that shit.
I still, I have obviously in my arsenal of sticks. I have like thicker gauge, big boys, but
yeah.
I don't. If I'm recording, I gravitate towards smaller sticks. I can really. It's not a trend, but getting a drum set to sound really tight and money, low volume is like something that I am just striving for a lot more and more these days.
Okay.
Since I don't really work with heavier bands, I do like sessions on the side, and sometimes I do get a band that's like they need more of like the big sound, big sticks, big cymbals. And I have to say like, hey, this is my setup. This is what I do. I don't think I'm a good fit. And then like, oh yeah, you're probably not, but you sound great. We'll check someone else, or I'd reference them to someone else. Like, oh, this guy that I know is like can handle this with his setup. So, I mean, I used to have like, I was in a metal band back in the day and all that stuff. And I want to join a metal band again. It'd be fun, like a black metal band or something.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, just like the lighter sticks, because I try to get more intricate now in my playing, so that definitely helps to have like lighter sticks.
Right on.
It makes it like it's easier to be like super transparent when you have like smaller sticks. You hear every little micro adjustment, you hear every dynamic change easier. You can like make changes easier. That's also kind of a reason why I like using smaller, lighter sticks now, I guess.
It's making me reconsider, because I've been on like the rock size sticks. It's like 2B diameter with a little extra length for years now. The band I'm in, it like demands it, because otherwise I'd just go through sticks too often. But maybe even just trying 5Bs or something.
The 5B Extremes are really good.
Yeah, I used to use those a long time ago. Vic Firth, I think they're the best for me. What kind of kits do you play?
Right now, I have a Gretsch Brooklyn series.
Oh, cool.
So I finally, after all these years, I have like a top of the line drum set.
Hell yeah.
It's been my, it's like a dream kit. To finally,
oh, really?
Yeah. It's funny because I got this kit, and my mom was clearing stuff out in her house, and she found an old poster of an old Brooklyn kit poster that I had in my room. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's right. Like, I wanted this kit.
I've always wanted this.
So I got that. I got all rock sizes, which is sort of rare to find, because the Brooklyn kit kind of has smaller kick and smaller toms. But I wanted a rock size Brooklyn kit because it just sounds so good.
So let's go through all the pieces and dimensions.
Yeah, I've got a 22 kick, a 13-inch rack, and 16-inch floor. And then the snare drum is it's a Brooklyn standard snare drum. Doesn't come with the kit. And again, I mentioned him earlier, Mike Johnston. That's actually his signature snare drum, but he hates putting his name on anything. So he has like a signature cymbal, he has a signature snare drum, a signature sticks, but he wants to name it something else. So it's the Brooklyn series standard snare drum that is 14 by 6, I believe, 6.5. So, because I bought the snare drum separately, I was debating whether or not to get like a brass boy, like just like a ringer,
Yeah.
or like the Brooklyn series. So I got the Brooklyn series because I thought about like, you know what? I want a snare that I want, because I'm a recording artist basically right now. I want a snare that can record really well, that has like super versatile, that can, you know, play low volume, medium, a little bit high, a little bit on the higher volume, but definitely doesn't. It's not meant just to like ream on.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I want a snare to ream on, like eventually.
Yeah.
So I want to get like a raw brass, like a Ludwig raw brass snare drum. Those things are beastly
For sure.
So I was thinking of that because like if you go down this tree that I was on, I was like, okay, Black Beauty or the raw brass. And I was like, I gotta go with the raw brass. It just looks so cool, and it's like heavy, and it's like this thick snare drum. But yeah, and then for cymbals, I got a 21-inch Bosphorus Master Vintage Crash Ride.
Oh.
Yeah, I love crash rides. That's like I just love being able to ride, because I do play a lot of jazz. I love playing jazz and like jazz-oriented kind of music. It's just good to have a washy ride that you can just kind of like lay on.
For sure.
On the edge also to kind of do that. And I have 19-inch A custom Zildjian
Okay.
crash, and then just a new beat hi-hats.
Right on.
Hi-hats. Yeah.
Those are pretty solid hi-hats for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And the A customs, it's a little bit brighter for a crash.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have that and like super dark ride, but I like the contrast.
Yeah.
The A custom has been pretty hard to record. I guess I gotta like figure that out. But if you just hit it like soft, it just sounds huge on the recording. So always make sure if I'm crashing on that thing, just to like lay it back by like 3 dynamics, and it'll sound like you're hitting it like 1,000 forte.
Yeah. So that's your dream kit, because that's my next question is like, what is your dream kit? What's
one of them.
What's okay? Awesome. What's another one?
I guess a USA Custom Gretsch would be like another dream kit. That's the top line of the Gretsch. It's more maple heavy. It's just way more also customizable, because I would like to also have a drum set where I can order parts, order different shells, you know, and they'll be available. The Brooklyn series, they only come in the kits, and you can't. It's really difficult to find.
I see.
Any extra. They don't sell the extra parts for Brooklyns. You have to kind of just scour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be cool to have like more of a modular drum set, kind of like the high end DWs, where you're able to kind of, I want to buy a 10-inch tom. Okay. Can't really do that without looking like a Saint Anger era Lars Ulrich drum set.
That's funny. Okay, so yeah, you want to be able to get like different sizes, swap them in and out, and then you said that's the USA.
Yeah, the USA Custom.
USA Custom. Okay. Yeah, I'm less familiar with Gretsch, so that's cool. And then Bosphorus, I think that's the first time that's been brought up. I don't think I've ever played any of that stuff. It's pretty jazz focused, right?
Yeah, it's jazz focused, just super dark cymbals. I'm a huge fan of dark rides, dark crash rides. So a lot of the boutique companies I'm just in love with. Whenever I go to NAMM, I always make sure to first go to like the smaller cymbal companies, because they're gonna have some like crazy rare, not too many made cymbals, like hand hammered, just gorgeous cymbals. But you know, I do like Zildjian and Meinl for sure. Meinl has some really good dark lines. I'm looking at Meinl right now to buy some cymbals. Their newer lines are just really, really good. They have some really great artists on them too. So
that's what I've noticed is they've picked up every like influencer online. Like every time you go to an Instagram profile, that's some drummer with over like 10,000 followers. It's like Meinl artist. I'm like, holy shit, man! These guys are getting everyone. They're smart.
Yeah.
What does drumming mean to you, Anthony?
Drumming, I mean, it means a lot to me, I guess. It's like an obsession that I've learned to control over the years. I dive in, if I like a band or I like a genre or I like a drummer, I get very obsessive about it. I research just the drummer, any books that I can get, just start transcribing, start playing. It's just something that it's just as corny as it sounds, it's like who I am. Like my mind just becomes drums, and it's good just to focus on something like that in such like in like an animalistic way when like you can just have a one track thing. But yeah, even genres like when I got into jazz, I got really into jazz, in the practice room, reading books, listening, transcribing, listening, watching videos of technique. And that went for even Latin music. It went for like Brazilian, went from like even just rock. Like I dove in hard, even just rock, just the different facets of rock and what makes every genre different for drummers and what era, what influenced what, whoops. Yeah, I guess that's what, it definitely, that's what it means to me. Even just playing in even the cruise ship, that was still something that was like a challenge, and it meant a lot to me to be able to play at that caliber, to like finally have like a little bit of a reward, like, oh, wow, all this hard work, I feel like I'm like doing it kind of thing. So
I'm sure you're damn proud of yourself. I mean, I don't think it's corny at all, and I think the word obsession is fucking dope, dude. Because you're walking the walk. I mean, you went to school, you are teaching the next generation of drummers. You're a recording artist in your own right and filling in and doing studio gigs. You have performance down, it's inspiring to see.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I guess
incredible.
Obsession is a pretty pretty solid term for it.
Yeah, that's great. What are some tips that you would like to impart to the listeners?
Some tips would be listen to a lot more drummers. Find a list of drummers that you can just say and like them well. It's funny that I run into a lot of musicians who really can't tell me what their favorite artists are or their favorite drummers are or tracks or anything. Almost like, I don't want to sound mean, but like they're in a bubble in a way where like, not that they don't know maybe they just, they just haven't had the time to listen. But my tip would be just to listen a lot, watch a lot, and crafting your own sound is kind of like a big thing as well. And if you're self-taught and you don't know whether to get lessons or not, you can create your own sound without getting lessons, right? In the lessons, you're not really taught to like, oh, let's get your sound out. You can at eventually, at a certain spot, but eventually in lessons, I noticed that kids just start producing their own sound, and we go off that. So a tip would be, don't be afraid just to like make a sound for yourself. If you think you're doing something wrong, you're not. If you're worried about like technique and stuff, maybe ask someone like, oh, am I gonna hurt myself doing this? Like that level you can.
Yeah.
But, or just levels of efficiency, like how can I be more efficient doing around the kit? But yeah, don't be afraid to just experiment, have your own sound, and yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's rad. So I'm wearing an Opeth shirt because you in your videos have worn an Opeth shirt before, so we got to dig into it.
I love Opeth.
Who's your favorite drummer from Opeth?
Miguel.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, Martin.
Miguel.
Wait, Miguel.
Is Miguel the original drummer? Or am I thinking of someone different?
Shit, maybe he is. I think they're all Martins, dude.
Is it Martin?
Yeah, Martin Lopez from
Martin Lopez.
Yeah.
Okay, not Miguel.
Yeah, Mikhail is the singer.
Okay, Mikhail's the singer. I could have swore Miguel was like a drummer, but the original, because like I got heavily into Opeth in high school, and I still listen to them all the time. There's only like a handful of bands that I listen to still from high school. So I mean, Opeth, like Blackwater Park. Oh my gosh, just you can't not listen to that front to back.
Yeah,
like you can't just pick one song out and listen to it. You have to experience it every time. Damnation,
for sure.
Just bangers. Their new stuff's pretty cool too. Like the more proggier kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just go back to the the classics.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had that run of like ever since when Martin Lopez was in the band, it was like My Arms Your Hearse, Still Life, Blackwater Park, Deliverance, Damnation. So that's 5 in a row of just like fucking great as shit.
Yeah.
And then Ghost Reveries for me was kind of
That was a pivot.
Yeah, you're right. And then my personal favorite, I think, is Watershed, when they like new band kind of. The old guitar player left, drummer left, and they got like some new guys in there. But yeah, man, Opeth. Have you seen them live?
I have seen them live. Yeah, I think I went to like an Ozfest a long time ago. With like that lineup was like Lamb of God played, Opeth played. I forgot who else, but damn, like they're really really good live. Just amazing how he can just go from singing to growling like nothing. Like,
yeah,
he just doesn't change much. He's just like standing there and he's singing, and now he's growling. And
yeah,
yeah. Opeth was. I mean, that was a huge influence in my drumming. Them and like Meshuggah.
okay.
Like, yeah.
Dude, I got into Meshuggah.
I didn't say Thomas Hawk in my favorite drummers. I'm so stupid.
Well, there you go.
He's like absolutely like top, like my favorite drummer of like all time.
Well, so I got into him like a year and a half ago, and then I caught him last fall, and it was like a religious experience, dude. The way that their live dynamics, like the records do not do him justice. Like I was listening to like the first record and I was like, man, this stuff's so good. I hope they play stuff off their first record. And then there's Bleed, and then there's like all the newer stuff, which is amazing, all those polyrhythms. But seeing them live, it was like I could see like the spectrum of frequencies. Like it was so dialed in right from the first note. Like they opened with Rational Gaze.
Oh God.
And it was like, dude, I got chills. I was just standing there like, how are they this good immediately? Like all the polyrhythms. He, you know, just listen to his right hand, count everything off in 4. But then the band's just doing all these things. And like the cheat code is those 8-string guitars, because they're hitting at this level, like they hit your body and the bass and everything. And then the singer's like, he's like neck and neck with Phil Anselmo for the angriest person in the world.
Yeah.
He's upset.
Dude, he's such a good screamer though.
Yes.
The fact that you can like, he's legible, you can hear what he's saying, and he's like, English is his second language, and you can still hear him sing and scream. Yeah, he's amazing.
Well, Thomas Hawk writes all the lyrics too.
Yeah. He's like a major, even in the very beginning, he kind of like sculpted the band kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 8-string guitars, they're like a whole different instrument. They're not guitars in my opinion. Like you have to approach them differently. You have to like kind of handle them a bit differently.
Right.
Tone, feel, everything. And they just mastered those instruments.
Yeah, and it made me think of like Periphery and who are you know, they're cool. But like all the gent style bands, and it's like, man, they just they heard Meshuggah and they were like, this is it.
Yeah.
And they all got 8-string guitars.
Yeah.
But I think Meshuggah, like, they're the best to do that, you know.
Yeah. Did you like their newest album?
It's a little, yeah. I mean, I liked it, but I'm not. I've listened to it. I revisited it a couple months ago, but I'm not like listening to it as actively as the stuff that I like.
No, you like, yeah. I listened through like maybe twice, and there's a few songs that I listened to. It's just hard because I think any band that you're like really, really dig into, and you're just so used to like all the greats and all the old albums, that it's kind of, you're not tired of it, but you're just kind of like, all right. It kind of makes me like a little homesick for the older album. I put on Kolos right now.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks again for coming on. You're welcome back anytime. And check out Twanner _ on Instagram, and Twanner just by itself on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Cool.
All right, Anthony. Thanks
Awesome.
again.
Cool.